Welcome back to Lawyers and Libations, episode 23. Long time no see, Sarah.
We have been MIA. We basically just left the entire month of March, I think, between the two of us.
March is a tough month. I mean, it's like the kids are finally on break.
Everybody's on break. And
Yep.
I mean, it's like I was finally able to do, I wrapped up my 5th ski trip of the season. Which, I mean, it really makes me feel strong that I can do that, like physically, because I'm ancient age-wise. And so it was super fun. But I think that, our breaks with the kids and everything, we're not here very often.
No, well, and you did make very good use of your Epic Pass. I've only used mine once this season. I'm trying to figure out, since it's still snowing, if I can sneak in like a quick April 2 or 3 day ski trip.
So anyway, that is why I have not packed up my things and put it actually back into the storage area fully behind everything, because I'm still wondering if I am going to come join you on that trip and be like, beep, beep.
Like, I feel like I've had a few shots of Fireball.
You'd book that flight.
And some wine. And I keep looking at the flights every day. And every time I go on my Delta app, it says, still looking at Denver. And I'm like,
stop doing that.
Yeah.
Well, but have you looked at Eagle, too, to fly into Eagle? God, it's so much easier for Eagle.
no, I should too.
Yeah, I'll look at it with you. You know, the cost is always better to be shared.
No, I agree. Well, and
car rentals, all the things.
And it's kind of, I feel like April skiing would be great because it'll be more like the skiing we grew up doing in the North Carolina mountains. So I'm totally down with slush.
Icy. Yeah, we can fucking handle all of that. That's my sweet spot.
Oh, yeah. And we could do maybe some funny outfits / bikini skiing.
Bikini skiing.
I'm like, why not?
Who was the really funny female comedian that I
Chelsea Handler does it all the time.
Chelsea Handler,
So
and
funny.
she was like skiing into 50. She's in a fucking bikini. She's got her dog in like a backpack. She's smoking a cigarette and like chugging a wine glass while she's going down the mountain. I was like, that's my hero.
Why not?
She's my spirit animal. I couldn't love that more.
Yeah, I think we should maybe put it on our April to-do list.
I'm in. Fine. I mean, yeah, you don't have to tell me twice. You know I'll do it. Heartbeat.
I know.
I'm like, I'm ready if I have to.
I feel like you could show up at my house tonight with Fireball and wine and be like, hey, have you looked at your Delta app?
I just looked at flights, and it turns out they've gone down by $57. We should book now.
I mean, arm twisted.
Right now. Okay, so what do we have to drink? We did bring, so it's just us today.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, no one will probably be too disappointed. We can still be fun together, just the two of us.
Super fun.
But we brought so I brought a Cutwater tequila margarita, which I'm not going to lie, it's definitely the first time I've ever had that. So I'm going to have one and try that. And you brought a black cherry high noon. I
mean, always good. Never disappoints.
Right?
Refreshing.
It's delicious. It's a very solid staple. We did that because we were trying to feel springy, and we didn't want to take shots before noon while recording.
Nope. But it is.
Nope.
And it is super spring, right? Like, best time of the year, particularly in the South. But yeah, so thus the motivation for the spring outside
let's
drinks.
open this up.
I'm curious about your margarita.
I don't know. I'm going to let you try it first because I'm sick. So in case you really, really like it, then I'll let you drink it. It did fall on the ground, so that's why I was opening it very slowly. Here, try that and tell me if you like that. Spring is in the air, legitimately, in Atlanta. It is the most fun time. Is it good? Is it not good? What do you think?
It is good. I mean, I think over ice, I would have a hard time drinking this from a can all day. But it's good.
But over ice? Okay.
Not bad at all. Good job, Cutwater. Is it actual tequila or is it like that malt liquor type?
I don't know, but it's like 12.5% alcohol.
It says tequila.
So
it is real tequila.
That's a lot.
Way better for the hangover.
Am I going to throw up? Is it gross? Am I going to like it? I mean, I like my stuff over ice, but you think I should do this?
Yeah, I would drink that. I think you'll like it. And if not, I've got 2 high noons. So.
Okay, perfect. I love you for that. Thank you. Spring is in the air in Atlanta, along with the 3rd highest pollen count ever that they've been keeping record of in the past 35 years was yesterday, right before it dumped rain. As you can hear me, I sound like a man. Basically, my mom got sick. She went down to Florida. Victoria got sick. She was in Mexico. And Adeline got sick just because she went to school. And all those fuckers brought it home and infected me no matter how many vitamins and minerals and Zicam and colloidal fucking silver and all the things. It didn't matter. I mean, I got super ill.
Oh, yeah. I feel like everybody's been sick. We've dodged it, knock on wood, so far at our house as of late.
Oh,
like,
God.
no.
Sorry.
Don't better with ice, right?
It would be really good with ice and maybe some like fresh lime juice. I can't drink this out of a can. Only I think, and no meanness to Cutwater at all. It needs ice and a salt rim and some fresh lime juice.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So that'll be a no.
So I'm going to go to the High Noon Black Cherry because I won't be able to drink that the entire thing. Sorry.
I didn't mean to interrupt. I definitely would not drink that while like floating down a river. Could you imagine if I got a little bit warmed up?
No, I actually couldn't. So that's a hard.
Not to make you vomit.
Yeah, I'm
right,
like, I
thinking
literally
of it.
almost should just throw up taking a sip of that. I was unprepared for that. Okay, so back to it. The spring pollen count sickness.
Oh, it's crazy. Oh, yeah. So we've dodged recent illnesses, but my boys are on spring break, so they're not around. I mean, they're at baseball camp.
Yeah. But
I heard strep's running back around again, so I'm like, for the love of God, can we not get strep out of my house?
No, we don't need to do that at all. I mean, it's been a lot. Like I'm at that point now where you get that hacking cough that like comes where it's like 30 times a cough at 30 coughs a minute where
I'm
you
familiar.
like can't. Yeah, that one episode where you had to continue walking out. I will be really sad if I have to walk out because you're going to be by yourself and you're just going to have to talk alone since we don't have a guest today. But I have some Ricola, so hopefully I'll be fine. But yes, it is springtime in the ATL. The sports are insane.
Basketball is over for our heels.
March sadness.
So depressing. You know, and we had such a good team this year. Like, I just loved Armando Bacot. So I'm super bummed that we won't have him.
Well, and the Alabama
again.
guy, the center that fucking looks like a porn star / maybe child molester. I'm not really sure. Anyway, he's like, I don't know, 7 feet tall, kind of like Big Bird with that mustache thing that the college boys are doing, you know, along with the mullet. Why do you guys think you're going to get laid with that? It's just gross.
I don't love a stash. I mean, unless you're very attractive, you probably shouldn't rock
like
a
Tom
stash.
Selleck. Like, yeah, you could do that then, but it should have just stayed with him in the 80s. Yeah,
Agreed.
it's gross. And especially the younger boys that are doing it and they have like 3 little hairs and it looks like little floof.
Oh, yeah.
Stop
No,
doing that.
Not a big fan. You know, that guy then had a terrible next game. You know that would happen. Like, he immediately was on fire playing us.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to pull for NC State.
Fuck yeah, we're going to pull for NC
Yeah,
State.
I can't believe I'm pulling for the Wolfies.
Go
but-
Wolfpack. Couldn't be happier for them. It's like the Cinderella story.
Oh, yeah.
I
think
mean,
the whole
I love
country's
it.
pulling for them.
Yeah.
It'll be exciting.
Well, and P.S. they beat Duke. So anybody but Duke. We really, I would pull for anyone as long as they beat Duke. And they did, and they're making it in, and I'm just so excited for them. So, yeah, let's go Wolfpack.
Oh, yeah.
Whoop, whoop.
And then next week is Masters Week.
Oh, yeah. We do love a good Masters Week. Are you going?
Masters Week. We are going. We
I thought Ryan was giving me his ticket.
well, if you had to go to New York to speak, but we thought,
Damn it.
so come to find out, we thought we were going on the 10th, but our ticket showed up yesterday. They're for the 11th. So now he can go to New York.
And speak and then come back. Okay. Well, I guess I'm happy for you guys. So
We need to get you there.
I haven't been to the Masters yet. You guys go every year and you get the Berkman
the Berkman's passes.
passes, which like have everything and it's phenomenal. So when you guys were having the conversation that he was going to be out of town, I generously volunteered to go in his stead.
Oh, you were his guaranteed backup.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yes.
You were a
Okay,
shoo-in.
good. Well, then I think in 1 year I'll go at some point in time.
Absolutely.
Sometimes someone will bring me as their plus one. I should be able to go. But it sounds amazing. The azaleas are out all over the South. I mean,
Courtesy of the pollen.
yeah. I mean, I've really never seen anything like it in the ATL as what's happening right now. But I was up in Highlands this weekend and nothing really is in bloom there. There's no pollen whatsoever. Everything looks, still like dormant and winterized. And in Atlanta, we came back and like every single hosta is above ground. My Lady Banks roses are on fire. Not to sound like a big gardening nerd, but it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's causing havoc on my body.
Yeah. It's worth it, though.
It is worth it.
And another 2 or 3 weeks, it'll be fine, and everything will just be pretty, and it'll be hot.
And then it'll be hot as balls. Yeah. And then we have all the kids are in the sports. They're doing all of the things right now. Tell me, how's your spring break going, Rebecca?
Oh my God, I'm so annoyed. So since Hayden's in private school and the boys are both in public, so now we don't have overlapping spring breaks.
I'd fucking kill myself.
Oh,
That's
it's so annoying.
too much.
So it worked out great. I actually was in France for her spring break.
Yes.
So, and we had an au pair then who entertained her while I was gone.
Allegedly.
Yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But the boys are on spring break this week, and I've got to work. I mean, I feel like I'm catching up. I've got a huge mediation on Friday. And so I put them in baseball camp. And you would think that I had asked them to hike the Appalachian Trail. I'm like, all you have to do is go to Chastain Park for 3 hours a day. That's it. Go hit baseballs.
And you're hitting baseballs and throwing baseballs. Like, I don't feel badly for you. It's like my friends who played in college and then went and played pro. Any athlete, I don't really feel terrible for you. You're literally getting paid to play a game. Like
you're having
they
fun
get
for
to
a
go
living.
have fun for a couple hours during their spring break instead of staying home on the TV, on the pads, doing all the things. Like, good for you. Way to stay tough. Kick them out of the house.
I lost my mind this morning, and we have construction workers at the house. Like, they probably think I'm the most terrifying mom on the planet.
But here's the thing. You have the patience of a full-blown fucking saint. So for you to lose your mind on them, I mean, they had to push you past the limit.
I mean, it was absurd.
Did you cuss at them?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was like, I'm tired of this shit. And George goes,
You guys can fuck all the way off. Both
mad.
of you. All the way.
He goes, don't call me a shit. I was like, I didn't call you a shit. Don't say shit. I will kill you.
Yeah, exactly. You're like,
get in my car.
Don't push my buttons. In fact, I'm going to make you walk in front of the car as I drive slowly behind you to get there.
So annoyed. But yeah, so they're at baseball camp now. I'm like, get over yourselves. Like,
Yeah,
not everybody gets to be entertained all day
I
long.
don't feel badly for them. And then tell me, you went to France and Switzerland. So this is the thing that Rebecca, I have been urging her to go to Europe for so long, but she has so many other obligations and a plethora of children. So that's not the easiest thing to just pick up and go to Europe. But you decided to, and you got on a cruise, a riverboat cruise thing. Tell me about what you did.
Oh, man, it was amazing. So Mom and I and my girlfriend Kara and her mother, we went to France and we did an Ama Waterways river cruise from southern France up through France, and then Mom and I hopped out and went to Geneva for 3 days. It was amazing.
Right? Mm-hmm. There's really nothing better. Was the crew hot on your boat?
The crew was so hot.
You were the only person under the age of 60 on that cruise.
Kara and I were the only two people under the age of 22, which I know because my mom was 22 when she had me. Like, everyone else was definitely
22 years older than you.
Oh, yeah. And there was a father-son group on there as well, and Connor was around our age too. But everybody else was at least 65. So I called Ryan immediately, and I'm like, oh my God, we're the youngest people on here. And he
Did you start dying laughing?
He goes, were you shocked? He was like, you're on a riverboat cruise. This isn't like people with children.
You're not in Ibiza.
No.
Off the coast of Spain.
But it was perfect. Like, there were no kids. And also, there were no kids. And I love my children. But if I'm not traveling with my kids, I don't want to be.
I don't want anybody else's children near me if I don't have Adeline.
But it was beautiful. Every day we'd stop in a new tiny little town. We ate a ton of French food, ate a bunch of Michelin star restaurants, drank a bunch of wine.
So fun.
It was so nice.
I love that for you. Well, you deserved it. You needed to go. You were gone for 12 days, 2 weeks, somewhere in there?
It ended up being 12 days between travel over, and then the cruise was 7 days, and then went to Geneva for 3 days.
So much fun.
Amazing.
I love that. We barely just missed each other because Adeline and I did spring break in Austria and Germany and Switzerland. That video thing, where it said, I don't know, there's some fucking Instagram reel that was like, did you know it's cheaper to go to Europe and go skiing for spring break than it is to go to Colorado? And I was like, Well, I guess I'm going to look this up. Turns out it was.
So was it cheaper too, like once you got out there, food and alcohol wise?
I may actually fucking
You're
die.
fine.
I'm really sorry.
Just give me a little hand wave, and then I'll give
you a hand
some
wave.
funny stuff I can talk about.
Mm-hmm. So it is. Like places to stay, getting over their flight's the same. Places to stay is cheaper. Food and alcohol, totally fine. If you don't have an Epic Pass, like your actual ski passes, your lift tickets are cheaper. And
It sounds like they're super cheap. So I got to know our cruise manager, this guy John from England. He's a big skier, and he was saying like lift passes are like $100. They're
literally $100.
$300 and $400 a day like they are West Coast here.
It's $100. I think Adeline was like $40.
Oh my gosh,
for her
that's
lift.
amazing.
So we chose Ischgl, Austria. So we flew into Germany, we flew into Munich, and we chose Ischgl based on this video that was on Instagram that showed all the skiers that were shit-faced after coming down from après-ski. And they come down the mountain, everybody's falling, and it's the funniest shit you've ever seen in your entire life. Like, it actually gave me a bit of a panic attack because I immediately thought somebody's going to take out my ACL. But I booked there because I was like, oh, I want to go see this like live in person and record it. So it turns out it's actually not just after après-ski. Like, a lot of these fucking people are terrible skiers. Like, so they've got big, wide, groomed, open slopes, and it's beautiful. Like, you would love it. So we definitely need to go back and do this again. But like super fun. But there's a lot of like beginner skiers that have no fucking idea what they're doing. And I mean, like, it's just packed. So Adeline and I went over to different areas that were the more harder sections where it was like less jammed up. But so we get there and we drive to Ischgl, which is like 3 hours from Munich, and go to this. We pull up into this Hotel Nevada. And I walk in. Adeline says to me before we walk in, she goes, "This doesn't look like the hotel that you booked." I'm like, "Listen, princess, like whatever hotel I booked, I promise had really good reviews and everything's fine. So it might not like look as fancy as what you thought it was going to be." I was like, "But this is it's I promise it's going to be amazing." So we walk in and I go to check in and I'm kind of looking around and I'm like, "Oh, this isn't looking the best, but okay." You know, I mean, it just looked very like bare bones. And so I was like, "Hi, I'm checking in." And he goes, "Well, we do not have anybody checking in today." And I go, "Well, you do, because I've got confirmation right here. Let me pull it up." He goes, "Are you sure you didn't book the Hotel Nevada in Switzerland?" And I go, "Excuse me, what?" And he goes, "There is also a hotel in Nevada in Switzerland." I go, "Well, how far away is that hotel?" He said, "Well, we share a ski area." And I go, "Okay, well, that makes me feel better. That's encouraging." And he goes, and so I pull up my thing, and sure enough, it says booked in Swiss francs. And I was like, motherfucker. So needless to say, I showed up in Austria to a hotel when it turned out I'd booked the hotel in Switzerland instead. Fortunately, it was nicer and absolutely lovely. And it was smaller. It was also like 4,000 feet higher. So there was snow on the ground.
Oh,
Everything
perfect.
was beautiful. It was so pretty. I mean, I stuffed my fat face with fondue the entire time. But it was such a fun trip. But it was a fucking, unbelievable shit show where I was like, oh. I'm like, well, no, I will show you my confirmation. Here it is. It's right here. And I pull it up. I'm like, ooh, that's a Swiss
Wrong
francs.
country, ma'am.
Wrong country, ma'am. I was like, oh, that's fun. Anyway, so I told Adeline, I was like, and she came out and she goes, I'm really, because I said, let's stop at a gas station and we'll get some snacks and a coffee. Because turns out it was an hour and a half away.
That's not bad.
No, but
mean,
it's
it could have
also,
been, like,
really like, poor me, right? Twist my arm. I'm driving through the Alps
Which are
at like
gorgeous,
sunset, which
right.
is stunning. But Adeline goes, I'm really starting to get nervous, Mom, because you're really reacting very calmly to this right now. And this is kind of a big deal. And I go, Adeline, you'll learn this about your mom is that if I can't change it, I'm just going to accept it. No matter how fucked up it is, I'm going to be like, well, might as well make the best of that one.
Yeah,
so,
well, and the snacks over there are so good in the gas station.
it was delicious. We had like a whole charcuterie board. I mean, it could have been
Perfect.
suspect, but it was fucking delicious. So it wasn't terrible.
So John, our my cruise director for the boat, was saying, so we're doing kind of like a ski comparison, and he was like, the crazy thing about Europeans, he was like, first of all, they all dress just like they're dressed. He was like, it's not like you like North Americans and where y'all have on like legit ski gear and you're skiing in
all of
negative
us
20.
are in, all of us are in like the North Face
Like,
or
we're prepared.
Patagonia. Yeah.
He was like, people in Europe ski just to look good. And he goes, they all suck.
Not wrong. They're fucking
He
terrible.
said they're terrible. He was like, it is not. He said same thing about the slopes. He's like, they're all groomed and wide. There's none of the crazy black diamonds like y'all have in the U.S. He's like, it is a completely different experience.
Nothing. It's a completely different experience. Even their like most like difficult ones were really lovely. Like you're not going off any cliffs.
Mm-hmm.
There's no fucking trees, by the way. So you're not fucking going through any trees at all. It's all wide open, groomed runs. It's just like the blacks are more like steep, but that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, like there was
none of the moguls like we have.
None of it.
It's totally different.
It was absurd.
Well, I want to go. Let's put that on bucket list for.
Done.
I mean, because
Oh my
my
God,
Epic
we could
Pass is
do
about
that.
to renew anyway, so
Yeah,
might
exactly.
as well.
Well, we might need to change to the Icon Pass.
That's what Ryan prefers as Icon.
Well, because it includes Big Sky and Aspen and Steamboat with Jess and all the things. So we need to move to
Okay.
Icon this year.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I don't hate that.
Yeah. Anyway, it won't be terrible, but it also includes Zermatt, Switzerland. You're welcome.
Perfect.
I've already done all the research. I'm like, bye. We'll see you there.
So one funny thing that before we move on to legal stuff, you know, I'm in the midst of looking for a new au pair.
Oh, God.
So
You haven't had the best luck with au pairs.
it's been such a disaster. I don't know if it's us. I don't know if it's because I have 3 kids. This one apparently hated our golden retriever puppy. I mean, how is it even possible to hate a golden retriever puppy?
Insane. What I loved was, so my au pair, Victoria, is like my other daughter now. So I have Victoria, she's 27. She's from Bolivia. She's phenomenal. She's a member of my household. She's not going to leave at the end of her term. I'm either going to adopt her or hire her at our law firm or marry her. I'm not really sure which one it's going to be. But she's never leaving because she has become like a second daughter to me. And I want to make sure that, you know, she's a mechanical engineer and there's no opportunity in Bolivia whatsoever. So I'm like, no, you stay here. You can study. We can find you a good job. Some cute boy somewhere.
She go to Georgia Tech and get
Heartbeat.
like an advanced degree or something.
Yeah, she's amazing. But so I feel somewhat personally guilty about this because I talked you into getting an au pair based on my experience with Victoria. Your experience has been vastly different than mine.
I'm so over it. Well, and you know, and Elizabeth has always had a good experience as well. So to bring you listeners up to date, so before I left for France, everything was good with the au pair. I do like a by the minute rundown. Like this is
you literally do 100%. Like
I
here's
mean,
the
I take all the guesswork
schedule.
out. I make it so easy. She hadn't been doing a very good job. She'd been doing just enough to like not send me over the edge.
But she also was like not cleanly or anything.
She wasn't as clean as I'd prefer, for sure. But so while I was gone, I'd built in time on the schedule for Ryan to go watch basketball and have some alone time too.
Oh my God, I fucking die.
So he was out one Friday watching basketball, but just came home briefly to grab a few things. And he comes in. George is unsupervised, who's 7, playing on his iPad, just minding his own business in the chair. Our golden retriever had flipped the cushion off of our leather sofa and was literally like just ripping out the insides. Ryan said he came in, it was like a comic book. Like there was just like stuff flying everywhere. He'd taken a dump in the floor. He'd peed on the other side, and au pair was missing.
She just wasn't present.
Wasn't present. And so not shockingly, Ryan lost his mind.
Ryan has a bit of a temper, but
He has a little temper.
I will give
I think
this
it was
to
very
Ryan.
justified.
It was 100% justified. 100%.
And so he texted me and was like, hey, don't panic. I don't know that the au pair may not be here when you get back.
Don't panic. She fucking, I mean, I've never heard of anything like that in my entire
It was
life.
absurd. So I come home, and she and I walked together with George to school the next morning, and she's acting like a complete weirdo, walking like 15 steps behind me. And so, because I also just don't have time for drama. And I'm like, what's going on?
You're too busy to have
Too
time
busy.
for any
And
of that
she's
shit.
like, I don't want to talk about it right now. And I go, okay, I don't have a lot of time on my hands. What's going on?
We have a moment here together while walking that we can discuss
We're alone.
things.
We have 10 minutes with no one else. And so She said the coach incident, which I'm assuming is the couch incident, between that and her dislike of dogs.
The dog that she gets on the ground and plays with all the time.
Yep. So, anyway, so she's out. I don't have childcare. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm interviewing new au pairs, but I just don't know. It may just not be right for me.
Well, I mean, if you find one that's like a member of your household, it'll be amazing. There's nothing, there really is nothing better. Again, I hired an au pair and I literally gained another daughter. So
I'll have coffee with somebody next week.
I could go too.
Yeah, you should vet. Should have you and Elizabeth come and grill her and be like,
can
this is what Rebecca needs.
Yeah, and then we'll bring Victoria too, and then she can talk and be like, all right, these are the things that have to happen. This is absurd.
And must love dogs. But the one I'm interviewing next week is a dog behavioralist as well.
You just went full blown the other extreme.
I mean, right? And she looks attractive. But I think I'm warmed up to that idea of having a hotter au pair.
Oh, yeah.
I think the boys will listen better.
They will, for sure.
My boys love a hot girl.
They love the women.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan, watch yourself, good sir.
I don't think he likes women that much.
He doesn't like to deal with any kind of fucking whatsoever, so probably not.
So on to legal stuff. So in the news, and something we actually talked about some on the radio last week, was the Baltimore bridge collapse.
God damn it. That was some fuckery.
It was awful.
That was really bad. So from a workers' comp perspective, you had 10 immigrants that were working for the company that was filling the potholes on the bridge die. I don't know that they're going to recover their bodies. It's not good.
I think they had 6 die and then 4 were seriously injured.
Really badly injured. So that obviously from a comp perspective, depending on how many kids they have or if they have, a bunch of dependents, that there could be comp cases there, obviously. If not, I mean, like in Georgia, we were talking about it. So we do the locker room on 680 The Fan here in Atlanta on the mornings, on Friday mornings every week.
8:30, tune in.
8:30, tune in, super fun. But we talked about it, and I think the guys were shocked to know that, like, if there aren't dependents, like, I mean, you get burial fees. Like,
there may not be a payout, and it varies by state. But in Georgia, if you don't have dependents, what they pay out is burial fees and $10,000 to the state.
Yeah, so
that's it.
So it's not gonna be like, your sister's not gonna get paid if you die on the job. Like, you're done. So it's obviously a pretty crappy system, but there's also the possibility for obviously lots and lots and lots of lawsuits with that, anywhere from bridge design. It didn't have the possible necessary fenders that could have deflected the boat from hitting. Maybe even like a design defect for the electrical system, for a products defect that shut the boat down, that made it crash into the bridge.
Yeah, definitely suits against the operators and owners of the boat.
Yeah.
And one article I read was just talking about the insurance, like how much they thought that this accident would cost. And like if you look in comparison, the boat that crashed off of St. Simon's.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God.
That was like a $400 million payout from insurance, or estimated to be around that, where they're estimating for this bridge collapse between the loss of life and the damage to the bridge will be about $3 billion in total payouts from insurance.
That's a lot. So
much.
A lot of people too. I think a lot of our clients, they'll say things like, "Well, I don't want to sue my employer," whenever they get hurt or something. I mean, not to just switch gears, but just to remind everybody that people have insurance for a reason. Your employer has insurance for a reason. You're not suing your employer. You're filing a claim with their insurance because you got hurt performing work for your employer. So same type of scenario with this. They all have a pile of insurance, and then they have umbrella policies, and they've got reinsurance. And I mean,
they have insurance for their insurance. And so that's what, and I think people do panic, particularly when it comes to workers' compensation claims and even auto claims to a degree. Right. But everybody has insurance. And so I think that
the insurance companies have like record profits every year. So I don't feel too badly for them. That's what they play the game, and they win some years and they lose some others.
Oh, yeah.
And with this one, they might actually lose. It's not going to be It's not going to be good, but hopefully those who lost their life or were injured will get taken care of.
Oh, yeah. Well, and then one interesting aspect on it, too, and this article is mentioning that there would not be a recovery potential, but there's a sugar refinery on one side, and they use that bridge for everything, and there's not a way to get around. I mean, so think about like the loss of, business income.
Well, and then also the people that are stuck in the harbor. Apparently, there's so much freight that's in the harbor that's just like stuck now. The hell are you supposed to do?
Well, the one off St. Simon's, what did that take? 2 or 3 years to get rid of?
Minimum.
Every time we were down there playing golf, it was just still sitting there.
It was still sitting there, and then they're like taking it apart like piece by piece. I mean, it was insane. So that was, how many years ago was that? Like 7 years ago or something, maybe?
It was out there forever. It ended up apparently being a huge boom to their economy down there because people would come down there to take pictures.
Shut up. Oh my God, that's hysterical. People have too much time on their hands. They need to get out more, 100%.
Oh, yeah. What about, I feel like one of the hardest things about coming back and catching up post travel is like catching up at work and all of this stuff. So any legal pet peeves as you're getting back in to the groove of things?
Legal pet peeves. I've had a couple pretty big pet peeves recently. So the non-toll in Georgia, we have a 400-week medical cap. So if you get hurt at work, pretty much every other state in the union has medical treatment for lifetime benefits. So if you hurt yourself at work, they will cover you. If it starts to like hurt again later, they will continue paying for you and continue paying for your prescriptions and PT and doctor appointments and all of those things. Well, in Georgia, we got the 400-week medical cap. So biggest problem that we have here, and I think the actual tool that a lot of defense attorneys use is they will request a hearing denying some sort of, medical treatment that has been recommended by the authorized treating physician because they know it's going to take a year to get before a judge. And then there's going to be months before there's a decision, and then you're going to appeal it. And then there's going to be months before you get to do your oral arguments in front of the appellate division, months before that decision. It goes on up. It just runs out the clock, right? So one of my biggest pet peeves that I've seen recently, it's very similar to the change in condition statute in Georgia, which if you're released to return to work light duty for your employer, then that kind of starts the clock on how long you're entitled to ever receive income benefits, even if you're taken back out of work subsequent to the injury. And I think a lot of defense attorneys fuck with the injured worker pretty heavily by, delaying medical treatment, denying medical treatment. And then for some reason, our system, we don't have a way to toll the statute while you go before a judge. So even if you're eventually successful in winning your case, you've still lost those like 2 or 3 years of medical treatment or income benefits or whatever the fuck it may be. And so, anyway, I get very heated about that. It makes me very angry.
And it's tough because we've talked about that some on legislative council over trying to, address that. Not shockingly, tons of pushback from insurance, right? They're like, it's 400 weeks, that's it. So it doesn't matter. But it's from a practitioner standpoint, it's very frustrating because you lose years of care.
I mean, a compromise actually could be where if you're eventually successful, then it's told.
Right.
And if you're not, then fine. Then you add it on to the back end or something for income benefits or the medical treatment.
There's law, or one way to look at it as well, and what we discussed is if you request a hearing, is that when the tolling period technically begins? Is if once you win? So I don't know. It's a very frustrating kind of loophole that's very favorable to insurance.
Well, and it's also very difficult to get I know we've talked about this in the past, but the more conservative a state is, the more, quote, red a state is, the more employer-insurer friendly a state is. And then it's very difficult to get anything passed that is going to actually be helpful for the injured worker.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, from the chairman of the state board to the directors to the judges, you're looking at hiring or appointment by the governor and then hiring going down the chain. So you're not getting a bunch of union reps up there
Yeah.
making decisions about whether or not an injury is compensable.
So if you were an injured worker, what would you recommend? Like if you're running into issues getting medical treatment approved and you're, not represented, what would you recommend to kind of combat that statute?
So currently the way that it is, you can't really combat the statute. You're fucked. But I would recommend immediately reaching out to a lawyer as fast as possible. I think the biggest thing in the workers' comp system, especially in Georgia, the benefit of having someone to represent you is we know all the doctors. So we know like who's going to be a shitty doctor, who's going to be a good doctor, who is going to, even if you're missing your, you've got a above the knee amputation on the right side, they're like, oh yeah, he can absolutely go back to like being a truck driver full time. It's fine. You know those doctors, right? They let you know because we've been doing that for years and years, and we've seen them release our clients to full duty work, and it's all about maintaining their status on the panel of physicians so they can get more clients and make more money. So my recommendation would be immediately get a fucking lawyer so you can find out which doctors are which. And I do think I do want to switch really quickly over. I think the claimants bar also does some stupid shit where if they don't have a good panel, if they have not maintained a proper panel of physicians and then they get to control the meds, sometimes they go with doctors that will keep them out forever, which gives our side a bad name. So you want to do a lot of good research with your attorney, talk to them. And I mean, like my biggest thing for our clients is if I wouldn't get surgery by them or send my mom or my dad to get surgery by them, then I'm not sending my clients to them.
100%. I think that's a big mistake claimant attorneys make, is just picking people that are going to write good opinions. I don't. And I tell my clients, and I'll tell defense counsel, I won't send my client to somebody if it's not somebody that I wouldn't go to myself.
No, absolutely. I mean, because so I've now had a lumbar surgery and an ACL repair, and my mom has had a back surgery by a doctor, an orthopedic here in Atlanta as well. And like, these are not easy surgeries, right? So you don't want somebody that will just keep you out of work to add a couple more $1,000s on your claim. Like, you want somebody that's going to actually help you and get you better and possibly return you back to work is the most important thing, because you can't live off the comp system for the rest of your life. It's not enough money.
No.
So because they're such, invasive surgeries, it's not something to joke around with and just go with a shitty doctor just because you want to get a couple more $1,000. It will affect you the rest of your life.
100%. And I tell clients that on intake. I'm like, look, you might find some other people that are going to try to like game the system and do it a different way. My goal is to get you better so that you can work again.
For your family.
Yeah, do that. People are exponentially happier, fixed and out of pain. Who cares if you make an extra 10 grand if you can't walk on your knee ever again, right? Like pick getting better.
Yeah, always pick getting better because it'll ruin your entire life.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, what do you have that's making you pet peeve? I know that you, again, it is tricky whenever you come back from that. I mean, like even when we're gone, we both stay on top of our emails and everything that's coming through. But the fuckery that awaits when you get home is tricky.
It's so much. Well, so I've got 2 cases right now. Both of them, my client in each case had a prior injury, same body part, same employer, but like 4 or 5 years ago. And so the Georgia workers' comp system includes re-injuries or aggravations in the system. So like
aggravation of a pre-existing aggravation of a pre-existing condition is compensable as long as you don't lie about it. Don't fucking lie about it whenever you get hired.
Neither one of them lied about it. Obviously they knew because they worked there, and both claims the adjusters have denied because of the pre-existing condition. I'm like, their pre-existing condition was in place because they worked for you to begin with. Like, so I'm through the roof.
I would lose my mind on that shit.
Well, and it doesn't. And so actually one up today, I reached out to the adjuster because I'm about to request a hearing. And I was just like, hey.
So there's no defense attorney on it right now?
No defense attorney yet. And so, I'm such a nerd. I cited the law. I was like,
maybe you practice. Maybe you are an adjuster for multiple states and you don't understand the law in Georgia. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Here it is.
Yeah. But in Georgia, aggravation of a pre-existing condition is covered by workers' compensation. I'm going to give you a chance to reconsider your position before I request a hearing and ask for assessed fees. So I sent that out early this morning.
Oh, well done. Have you heard back yet?
No, she's not going to do anything. I'm going to request a hearing on Friday. But it's just frustrating because, like, in both cases as well, these are very good employees who have been there long term, who have no like complaints about their behavior, not like people that you would want to work for you. And so
Right. Why are you gonna mess with their employment?
makes me so crazy.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times it appears to be coming from the insurance companies, right?
Always.
Like you've got this, middle-aged lady that loves cats sitting behind a desk that hates injured
In
workers.
Texas.
Oh, yeah.
She's just pissed.
And so she's just denying it. Like they're denying everything. And I wish that employers would do a better job of getting involved in the claims, because my hunch is that in both of these cases, if the employer was involved, they would say, why are you denying a minor wrist surgery for someone that's going to be out of work for 4 weeks that we hope
will
that works
then
here
come
long term?
back. Yeah. I mean, and I think too that is very important to note is that you're fighting to get medical treatment and like a very closed period of income benefits. In Georgia, 99% of the time, in order to receive a settlement, you actually have to resign. So you're doing this like as a karma case. You're like, I'm going to usher you through the system. It's going to be okay. You're not going to make any money on that case.
I'm not going to make money, but I'm mad.
You're helping.
Like,
but I'm saying like you're helping somebody get through the system that may not. But then they're going to create this whole fucking scenario where it's going to be like 8 months to a year of dicking around on this case that could have, and he's going to get worse or she's going to get worse. And it's just going to be, it's a disaster.
or she could be back. I mean, and she'll be back at work during, like, there'll be a set, like, when we try the case, she will have only missed like 8 weeks from work.
Right. See,
But-
that's absurd.
It's crazy. But so kind of my new stance, I've talked about it a little bit, is I think that trying these cases so that, number one, the judges can see how absurd these positions are that the insurance company takes. But I think just trying them and just getting the awareness out.
Right.
Because all the time you talk, like anytime I talk to an ALJ at a cocktail party, they're like, the system seems great.
We don't really see
Yeah,
this a
we don't
lot.
see a
And it's
problem.
because when we're not going to get in front of you for a year. And a lot of our clients
case
can't
is
wait
settled.
for a year. Yeah.
And both of these people can wait. And so I'm like, I'm
really
fired
proud
up.
of you. Go get them, Tiger.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I won't get assessed fees anyway. They don't
No,
like
you're
to
not going to
award
get
them,
any.
but
That's
I'm going
like
to ask for them.
That's like the Tooth Fairy. Good fucking luck with that. But yeah, well, go get them.
Thank you. Well, I'm so glad we could catch up today. And so we've got some good guests coming up that we're, again, everybody in the world's traveling for spring break. So we've got a few things in the works.
They are. We will try and be a little bit more regular. Again, fucking March was hard. Oof.
Brutal.
We were just like, I was in Europe, and then you were in Europe, and then I was skiing, and then you're back. And I'm like, okay, we've got to come back in.
And maybe we'll ski again.
And we will.
But most importantly, to all of our listeners, definitely check out. We're on 680 The Fan every Friday morning at 8:30 with the Locker Room guys.
Great guys. They're so fun.
So funny. And so that's been, now we have to behave a little bit better on Thursday nights and be up early Friday and up here.
I don't get to cuss on the radio. They have the button ready for me at all times, but it is a wonderful group. So we're very thankful to be a part of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it was great to catch up. So check us out on, I guess, are we still on YouTube? Are we on the YouTube?
Yeah, we're on
Maybe?
we're on the YouTube, on the
YouTube.
worldwide interweb, and then Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever you may get your podcasts.
Perfect. Sounds good.
And we will see you soon. Take
Cheers.
care.
Happy
Cheers.
spring.
Yes.
Happy March sadness.
Woo.
April sadness.
It's sad.